All right, so if y'all been following me, you know that I was trying to learn the trumpet, and I had gotten gifted this Wingbone that really set me on this path where I wanted to get good at using these, and I've posted several videos, so I wanted to give you an update. We're about a year later. I've had some success using these, and I just wanted to show you my progress, but also give you some tips. A lot of folks have started reaching out asking me about what I'm doing, what kind of calls I have, and just a general how-to. So I wanted to show you some of those. I'll start with where I started. This is a Wingbone that was made by Lovett Williams, a historical researcher, my predecessor, so to speak. And you can see it comes with a lanyard. These are 3 bones out of a turkey's wing. And it has just a basic lip stop. So those are the general characteristics, and you can see I have accumulated quite a few calls now, several that folks have sent me or that I have purchased along the way because I've gotten really excited about using these. After I got what I thought was proficient, I started hunting with them a lot, and after watching some turkey responses to them, I'm going to have these in my bag no matter what. When I go hunt, I'm going to have one. So let's get into it and talk about some of the characteristics. So there's a couple of things that are really important about the use of the calls. One is you want to make a bell or like a little chamber with the call. The way that I was taught with David Holly, that is from Wild Turkey Report, he was talking about how important it was the grip that you have, and what he recommended is that you put it in your hand just like so, and then you kind of make a chamber that's sort of open like that. And I think that's really important. You can put different amounts of back pressure. So basically, when this is a suction call, so you're actually drawing air in, and you can cover different parts of the hole that will change the sound of it. And I'll show you that in a few minutes. Some really need that. Other ones I've found don't need it at all. I'll talk about all those, and I'm going to go through several of these different call types that so you can hear them, and I'll tell you where I got them and let you see the aesthetic of them. But I started with this Lovett Williams Wingbone, and so there's a couple of basic sounds. I really like to use a cluck and a yelp to locate turkeys in particular, and I even finished a turkey this year with it where I was doing a little quieter calling, and the turkey really responded to it and came. He ended up right in our lap and we got him. So pretty cool. But so notice I've got that grip, and then for a cluck I'm just going, so it's sort of like you're trying to make a kissing sound, and you're trying to do it really abruptly like that so that you get that sharp cluck sound. So you can hear that's a pretty good cluck. It's really loud and penetrates the woods really well. You can hear it echo back to you, and that's one thing I really like about this. I went on a hunt with Cuz Strickland. You might have, if y'all follow him, you've probably seen some of that content, and he was really blown away by how loud and piercing the sound of this Wingbone was in the woods. So another thing that I'm going to do is a yelp. This, depending on the call type and the way that the mouthpiece is, I kind of move it around on my mouth. A lot of people will draw it straight, draw the air straight in the middle of the lips like I just did then, but some people will move it around. I like to run a lot of them kind of in a quarter position right there, so I'm halfway between the center and the edge of my mouth, and then I've seen a lot of people run it on the edge. Interestingly, I hear this from people all the time. I can't run one of those because it tickles my lips too much. I hear that a lot, and I will say, if I move it for some reason, if I move it from to the left of center, I get that. I can't run it because it tickles my lips, and I just can't handle the way that it feels. But from the center right, that's not a problem for me. So if you're having that problem, try it in different places, and that might help you solve it. So if you're doing a yelp, it's more like a, so it's not as abrupt of a sound. I do the jaw method. I've heard others talk about drawing air in different ways. I'm not able to do it another way, but after you hear this, I don't know that I need to do it a different way. I've watched a bunch of turkeys respond really favorably to this wingbone and to a lot of these other calls. So let me show you what that sounds like. So you can hear that pop, and with that sound chamber, it really is making it sound like a turkey's vocals. And while we're up here close, to me, it doesn't quite sound right, but when I've heard it from 100 yards out, it sounds like a real turkey. So I've been really impressed with the way that turkeys respond to it, and I have seen quite a few hens get started up and really angry, and a couple of times they've bull rushed me, especially with a couple of these cane yelpers that I'm going to show you here in a minute. But turkeys gobble at it. I've had a few times where I could not get the turkey to gobble to locating with anything in my bag other than one of these trumpets or wing bones. So definitely a good thing to have available. So let's look at some of these other calls. So another really common style of call from this are these cane yelpers. So they're made out of a river cane, and these are really cool. I love them. I love the sound. You'll hear that it's a little bit unique compared to that wing bone. This is the first one that I got. It was gifted to me by a fella named Lee Steed. He's a call maker, and he gave me this cane yelper, and I really appreciated that. But now I've really appreciated having it with me. So I'll often have that wing bone, a cane yelper, and then one of these bullet style yelpers that I'll show you here in a few minutes. So you can hear the sounds, you know, some of the same sounds on this one. So you can see a really pure sound. This particular call, for some reason, hens hate it in the woods, and they will come to you and try to attack you. I've had it happen several times. Obviously, it doesn't happen every time, but if I'm trying to make a hen mad, I usually turn to one of these cane-style yelpers, and for whatever reason, it really seems to make hens mad. So if you've got a big gobbler that has hens with him and you're trying to irritate one of them to get them to draw him to you, that might be a good strategy for you. So this is another cane yelper. This was made by a fella from Alabama. He saw where I was getting really into the trumpet style calls, and I've even made a few wing bones myself now. I'll show you if we get enough comments and you want to see the wing bones that I made out of gobbler wings that I harvested. Just leave me a comment. We'll work on one of those videos if you want to see it. But really cool call, and you can see, you know, one of the things I love about these is that people have their own vision of what they look like, and you know, what the aesthetic is, and I've really appreciated seeing different styles of it. So this one again is from Anchor's Yelpers, and he's in Alabama, and you can hear that a lot of these calls have unique sounds, but what I have found is in the woods you have a range that is good enough. And what I mean by that is there's not a particular sound that every hen sounds like. There's a range of sounds that sound like a hen. And if you're in that range, you're good. So on a day-to-day basis, even moving around in that range, so maybe you have different kinds of calls that fit into that range in different places, and sometimes that's the way to get one cranked up. You hear people talk about that all the time, especially people with a lot of experience on turkeys. There's not a specific sound that you have to be good enough, but if you can move around in that range, sometimes that's what you need on any given day to be successful. So I just got this one, and man, I really like it already. It runs really well. You can do some other stuff, and some people are really good at some of those other things. Like for example, one thing that you can do, and I do it better on these cane yelpers than I do on other calls, but I've heard some people that are really good at this where they can purr on it. So notice these cane yelpers in particular, the hole size on the end is already not very big compared to some of these that I'll show you that have a bell on the end. So I'm not covering any of the call when I'm doing that on these styles because it's already restricted and you're getting that back pressure without it. So I've heard a lot of people that are really good with it and they can do a kiki yelp, or I've heard a lot of people that are really good with it. They can do a kiki run. They can purr on it really well. I'm still practicing a lot of that stuff, but I'm starting to get the hang of some of those things. I've even heard somebody gobble on one, which is kind of crazy to think about. But really, if you work on it and just get that nice, consistent yelp and a cluck on it, to me, that's good enough where you can use it in a lot of situations and find some success with it. But I've heard people really cut well with it, so So you can do a lot of cool stuff with it, and I've just really enjoyed trying to learn it and adding something to my repertoire. I'd hunted for over 30 years and never used any kind of suction call, and then just in the last year I started practicing on these, and I've just really enjoyed having them. So here's another call. You can see it's quite a different style. This one has acrylic up here at the mouthpiece. This was sent to me by a fella named Tyler Luker that makes calls on the side just for fun. And you can see it's a really nice wood with the bell shape on the end. So this one, it does need some back pressure. Again, you'll hear a little different sound out of this. So when I've heard several ways that you can do the purr. For me, it's kind of like a gurgle, like in your throat, just. So I'm making the vibrating purr sound with my throat, and then I'm trying to draw air through the same way that you would on those other things, but slowly and consistently while I'm gargling, and that's how I'm producing that little purr. And it may not sound very good right here, but to a gobbler that's 100 yards away, he really likes it. I've had a couple really respond to me purring right there and just doing some soft stuff with it. Just. So a lot of versatility in these. One thing that you'll notice is the style of the mouthpiece is quite different across all these calls. So I'll show you close-ups of all of them where you can see them, but you know, they're a little bit different. So testing out several will give you a different range of sounds, and you might be really good on some and not so good on others, but there's a lot of really creative call makers out there that have different ideas about what this is supposed to look like and how it functions, and you know, finding the one that's right for you is really important. So you can see that one sounds really good, but distinctly different. There's also a really common design. You can see I've got 3 of them right here. 2 of them have that bell shape, but these are bullet style calls. So you can see there's a metal mouthpiece. These are both calls from William Lester from Mississippi, really well known. I have 2 styles. One is that bell shaped with wood, and another one is his signature call that's a brass call, and it's that straight bullet style. So you can see he actually has a bullet casing, metal mouthpiece, really well known for those. This one was made by Preston Pittman. It's actually signed. A pretty cool call, and it's sort of a hybrid of those where he has a plastic mouthpiece that he uses generally, still bullet style, but then he has that wooden bell shape call there. So you can hear, again, quite a different sound that you get from these different ones. So this one for me is a little bit quieter, and I can be quiet with it, and just a distinctly different sound, but it's still in that range of call frequencies that that turkeys will respond to sometimes. So here I have the 2 Lester calls. I'll start with this one, the bell-shaped one, because I've already been running some of those. Again, on these, I'm generally trying to create that back pressure like this by covering part of it with my finger. So really great sounding call right there. I usually run one of these Lesters as part of my normal hunting. So I love this one. This is the one I've gotten most recently. It was gifted to me from a guy at Mossy Oak that he knew I was trying to get some of these Lester calls, and he picked one up for me, so it was really cool. But this one, again, it doesn't have that bell shape, so I'm not going to cover it. Now I'm just have it as part of my cupped hand at the end. So most recent time that I hunted, I was hunting with this one, and it was a bad morning. Turkeys weren't gobbling, and we ended up kind of moving around in different places, and I was trying to strike one up, and I was using this, and I yelped on it one time, and a gobbler ran to us. So it's a really great response, but you can hear a little bit different sound from those other ones, and you know, I'm doing the same thing with all these calls, so you can see that range of sounds that I'm getting from all these things. Notice I'm changing also my hand position, and and you can really muffle it or change the way it sounds, almost like there's a hen that's turning her head, or maybe she's walking in behind a tree or something, but it's changing that sound just like it would be normal in the woods for a hen. So a lot of people are asking, well, how are you actually getting the sound? So for a cluck, I'm just going, you can hear how I'm really have a hard suction and then releasing that into a burst all at once. So if I'm going to cut on it, it's a very similar thing, but now I'm like a... So even trying to practice it without the call, you can get really good at it, and then you're trying to mimic how you've heard a hen cut in the wild. There's lots of great videos on this, so try to mimic a hen in the cadence that she's using. So I wanted to transition right into the yelp there because I do that a lot when I'm calling. So another thing that you can do on here, and it's even known for it, this is called a cane yelper, this one in my hand, but we're doing a yelp now. And again, you can change where it's at in the mouth based on your own preference and the way your mouth and the airflow works in it, and what you can tolerate in terms of the vibration might change from person to person. But I'm doing more of a consistent, it's not really a smacking anymore so much as the way I feel. It's more of a, I'm sucking in air and I'm dropping my jaw to change that tone so that you're hearing it kind of that high note going into the low note. And a lot of times you'll hear hens even, and we see this in our facility where we're around hens all the time. They whine and make all these sounds all the time that you just don't even think of as being turkey sounds, but you'll hear me even starting to incorporate some of that whining in. So it's not necessarily me missing a note. I'm actually trying to add in these little squeals and moans and things that hens do all the time. So I say that for a couple of reasons. One, you can incorporate that into your calling, and hens are doing that all the time in the woods. But two, you're not always going to nail it. You're not going to be perfect, and the hen isn't either, and that can even add some realism. We're not trying to competition call where every note that we make is perfect. We are trying to sound like a turkey in the woods, and there's a big difference in sounding like a turkey in the woods and being a competition caller. So, you know, you don't have to be perfect at it, and in fact, it could add some realism if the way those imperfections sound like real hens' imperfections in the woods. So you can see I have, over the course of the last year, really accumulated a lot of different kinds of calls. And man, I just can't tell you how much fun it has been to try to learn a new call strategy, like the suction style call. Just had never had it in my bag, and I've enjoyed so much adding it to my repertoire. And now, after hunting with it a lot, seeing turkeys respond to it in the wild, it's just been a really cool experience, and I have just been enjoying it so much. In fact, several times I've gone out with only suction style calls and tried to get it done, and I have a couple of times now gotten it done with only that in my bag. So really cool. I'd highly encourage you to start trying to pick this up. Again, I'm not perfect at it, but in just a year you can go through that progress and see how much progress I've made to now. And now I feel proficient with it, where if I've got a big gobbler out there that I know is present, I'm not afraid to use it now. And I've watched them respond to it, and I know that it can be really effective. So you can hear, you can get some really realistic sounds out of some of these things. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Keep the questions coming if you want me to go over different parts of this, or you want to hear about different things that we're doing in the lab with turkey research, or a particular topic that you'd like me to cover in depth. Just leave me a comment. Happy to do that. And thanks for everybody that's been reaching out, asking me to do a follow-up on these suction style calls, because I've really been having fun with it, and I hope this will inspire you to try to take it up and learn how to use this in your bag.